Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for joining me here on this week where I break down the Tesla news from the previous week and kind of my thoughts on it, as well as answer some of your questions. I'm Ben Sullins, and I will just be your guide here, kind of showing you the things that people are talking about with regards to Tesla and trying to give you, I guess, my perspective on it. So first and foremost, we have the Model 3 news. Now, seems to be a recurring theme. I've put out a few big predictions the past couple weeks, and so there's been that, in case you haven't seen those videos. But now we have much more going on with the Model 3. And the first thing to talk about with regard to the Model 3 is Autopilot on the driving stock. And so let me switch over to my browser here and I'll show you what's going on. And this comes from Teslarati to start. So there were some spy shots here, and I have a link to this in the description, where some folks were able to get a really clear view inside of the car. And this has been something that people have wanted to see more of, but they've been pretty secretive of. You know, obviously it's hard to hide the car, but they do have something that they tend to hide this interior part from view, even when other people are seeing the car. So we now have the ability to actually dive in here and see even closer. And I'll put in, you can see this shot from Teslarati right here, where essentially what's happening is the cruise control stalk is gone, and that used to be on the left-hand side of the steering wheel for the Model S and X vehicles. This is also where you would engage Autopilot. So the Model 3 here have an Autopilot feature, or the ability to do Autopilot on the main stalk itself, and you can see that in this shot here, which was zoomed in from this other shot, this larger shot of the Model 3 interior. So this is pretty interesting. I think that what we're going to see are little tweaks like this here and there, but probably the final product is close to what we're seeing in all of these shots. So I do like this. I think this is pretty cool. I'm not quite sure if it'll be that big of a groundbreaker, but it does. Hopefully the turn signal stock is a little bit higher. If you guys haven't driven a Model S, I don't know about an X, but in my S, it's kind of awkward how low it is. So it'll be nice that you can get rid of the cruise control one and hopefully move it up to where I guess it's more comfortable, more natural for the turn signal. So along with this, these shots was this remastered display, and this was an art. I want to say artist. It was a guy that basically took the rendering from the shots. You can kind of see here the interior shots and what that looks like, and then here is the rendering of that, so you can see what that dashboard may look like. And so with this, I think it's really clean. I like the icons, simpler, just two-tone instead of the kind of 3D weird graphics we have now going on. But beyond that, there isn't much that I'm hearing here. So this is interesting, and I think that we're going to see a really good display. I know people are upset about not having a HUD or something behind the dashboard to see that, but this cleaner design here does give me hope that they'll do really well with maximizing the utility of the space that they have there. So along with that, we also have just tons and tons of images. These are posted to Imager, and you can check them out in the link below, or if you guys haven't seen these already, I mean, there's some really great photos here that these folks were able to capture. And so we're getting closer and closer. It won't be long now before I'm showing you my Model 3, or some other YouTuber showing you their Model 3. So, this just is a trend. We're going to see more and more of these photos. But as new interesting bits about them, not just the photos themselves, but the interesting parts come out, I'll try to share as much as I can with you about them. So the next item, and the way I do this, by the way, is I have my long and short. The long is the thing I'm betting on, the thing I'm excited about. The short is the thing I'm the opposite of. I'm not excited about. I'm kind of betting against. And so we're almost to that point. But I wanted to first talk about this email that Elon had sent out to his employees about worker safety. So there's a California nonprofit Worksafe. They're a worker safety advocate group, and I'm reading from the article here. They recently made headlines when they reported that the injury rate at the Tesla Fremont factory was more than 30% higher than the industry average of 2014 and 2015. So here's Elon's email to employees, and I think, as the title of this article suggests, this is a lesson in emotional intelligence. As somebody that was a former chief data officer for a tech company, who had many employees working for me, I see this, and it's very encouraging to someone that in Elon's position has this, because not everyone at those levels in companies really has this compassion and empathy for folks. So Elon said, "No words can express how much I care about your safety and well-being. It breaks my heart when someone is injured building cars and trying their best to make Tesla successful. Going forward, I've asked that every injury be reported to me directly to me without exception. I'm meeting with the safety team every week and would like to meet every injured person as soon as they are well, so that I can understand from them exactly what we need to do to make it better. I will then go down to the production line and perform the same task that they perform. This is what all managers at Tesla should do as a matter of course. At Tesla, we lead from the front line, not from some safe, comfortable ivory tower. Managers must always put their team's safety above their own." So this gets into this notion of servant leadership, where you are really sacrificing yourself before your people, right? And I can go on a little tangent here, where I was the director of business intelligence at an online school here in San Diego, and I think I had maybe 15 people. No, I'm sorry, I had a small team back then, 5 or 6 people only, and I was asked essentially if I could let somebody go. I was asked to fire somebody for no real reason other than the CEO read a book by Jack Welch that said you need to fire 10% of your staff every year to kind of trim the fat, I guess is the term they like to use. So I, at the time, and even now, I mean, it just pains me to think about this, especially when you're talking about a team that you've that are your friends and that you've worked to build into a really high performing group. And I was asked that, and first off, I argued the statistics of it, saying with 5 people, I don't have 10%, I have 20%, but not 10. And further, if you're going to fire somebody, go ahead and fire me, because of everybody on my team, I contribute the least to the productivity that we have. And that goes to my philosophy and thinking as a leader of a team, is you shouldn't be the one taking credit for the work. You may be the figurehead, you may be the spokesperson, but most importantly, you need to be the spirit of the team and giving them all of your love and support to make their job awesome, right? Part of my job, and as you can see, Elon is kind of echoing that here, was always to kind of shield them from the shit that was outside of their control, right? Other political stuff going on in the company, whatever. And I love this email, and the reason I'm talking about this so much is because it's really important to me that a company that I believe a lot in and I really have high hopes for has this mentality as well. So this is a great article here on Inc. The link, of course, is in the description. And I'm just curious. Have you guys ever worked for somebody like this? I know it's something that I've been passionate about for, with all the folks that have worked for me. And hopefully they would echo, that same sentiment that I've always tried to lay myself out on the line in front of them, and be that kind of servant leader instead of the, command and control, take credit for everything. I'm the big shot, because I just think that doesn't work at all in the long term. So go check that article out. I highly recommend it. Now, the next thing to talk about, and this is pretty awesome as well, this is my long, by the way, is that the Tesla Model X received 5 stars in every single category for its safety test. I have this article here from Electrek, not because of the article, but just because of how insane these videos are. And it kind of pains me to see this stuff, but it's just you can't watch it, right? Or you can't not watch this. You have to keep focused on it. So go check this out. They do all these kind of different tests. There's the side impact test, which when they saw how when I saw how they do this, I was kind of blown away. They put the car on, well, not this one. They put the car on skids. Let me show you. Yeah, I was watching this one here, and then they pull it into a pole. So this blew me away. Like, I'm just fascinated with how they test these things and how they do them. And then watching a Tesla get just beat like this is, it just pains me. It's so painful to watch this. But yeah, the good news is that the Tesla Model X is the first SUV ever to achieve a 5-star crash rating in every single category. So I'll just read you this little bit here. We engineered the Model X to be the safest SUV ever. And today, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration announced that after conducting independent testing, it has awarded Model X a 5-star safety rating in every category and subcategory, making it the first SUV ever to earn the 5-star rating across the board. I mean, great job, guys. I think they deserve a lot of credit for that, because just like the mentality of, we're not just going to make the best electric car, we're going to make the best car, right? We're going to make the safest, most beautiful, funnest to drive car ever made. Forget the fact that it's electric. That's a side of it. In fact, that actually is how they get this advantage. And they talk about it a little bit right here. The Model X performs so much better in a crash than gas-powered SUVs because of its all-electric architecture and powertrain design. The rigid, fortified battery pack that powers the Model X is mounted beneath the floor of the vehicle, creating a center of gravity so low that the Model X has the lowest rollover probability of any SUV on the road. No other SUV has ever come close to meeting and exceeding this rollover requirement. So when you think about these cars, right, you know, some people, especially that are more skeptical or, you know, haven't really experienced one, tend to think of them as, you know, that's cute that it's an electric car, this and that. But this, and the reason I'm super long on this is because this again shows that the innovative way that Tesla is going about things is far more transcendent than just the EV market. Right? They are setting new standards of doing things in the auto industry as a whole. So they're putting other cars to shame, right? They're faster, they're safer, they're everything, regardless of the fact that it's electric. So that is how you win, right? You can argue to people's, you can show them data and stuff about climate change and say that we have to do this for the world and blah, blah, blah. But that topic specifically has turned so political that it almost falls on deaf ears. But when you can make something like this, that is just better. Like, forget all the other benefits. Just, it's better. Then it's hard to argue with it, and people almost don't care about the other parts of it, right? So I think that the more Tesla, especially pushing the envelope here, can do these things, the better it's gonna play for the entire industry, right? So that old saying, right? A rising tide lifts all sails. So kudos to Tesla. Congratulations for this. And hey, if you're a Model X owner, I'd love to know what you think. I mean, this has to feel good, right? That you know you have the safest SUV ever made. So the next topic I want to talk about is Apple's autonomous vehicle plans. I won't talk too much about this, but there was an interview here worth watching from Tim Cook where he talked about Apple's car plans in an interview here with Bloomberg. Specifically, he said, we focused on autonomous systems. It's a core technology that we view as very important. He likened it to the mother of all AI projects, saying it's probably one of the most difficult AI projects to work on. So that's cool. I mean, Apple tends to make good products, and they don't do anything kind of half-assed, right? They're vertically integrated, which is the thing I hate about them, but also, you know, one of their biggest strengths. And so this is a good interview to watch. Go check this out if you like hearing about that. There is some cool details there about how they sought to build their own car. They hired thousands of engineers. It was called Project Titan, and then that basically failed. And they guy that what's his name, Bob Mansfield, who basically gutted that whole program, and they're starting over and they're focusing on solely the autonomous aspect of it. Forget I mean, according to them, it'll still be electric, but Yeah, I think we're at least 5 years out before this matters, which actually kind of plays to Apple's strategy, right? They don't really innovate anything. They wait for someone else to come out with something awesome, and then they kind of perfect it, right? So that when they do have something coming out, you can be assured in the quality of the product itself. Not necessarily that you're getting the latest and greatest thing, but that it's going to work and you're not going to have issues, or it'll all be integrated well. So next I want to talk about Fisker. Henrik Fisker is a bit of a legend, and I'm reading this from the article here, in the automotive design world. He's working on a new EV that they say will challenge the Model S, and it's cool. I mean, I'm excited about this. They said that the world's Fisker eMotion, the world's most advanced EV, 400-mile range and 9-minute fast charging, autonomous and connected. Very proud of what we are creating, and you can see the picture here. This is cool. I'm excited about this. I think this is something that they're going to, more cars like this on the road are going to help with the adoption of EVs. So competition is a good thing. I think this is great. I'm excited that some people that are really doing great things with design are getting involved here as well. So this is a cool article. I just thought this was a neat little bit that came out recently from them. So next, we have my short for the week. I need like a bell or something to hit whenever we get to this point. And this is about supercharging. Again, we're here, I don't know how many weeks now, but it seems like every other day Tesla is changing their mind about the supercharging program. So I'll just bring this up here and talk about this. Tesla had initially rolled out free lifetime supercharging to all Model S and X buyers, but as demand for fast charging network began to exceed the amount of available supercharger stalls and hotspots, they have started implementing this 400 kilowatt hour of free supercharging per year on vehicles sold after January 15th, 2017. Now, what they're doing is they went back on that and they said, hey, anybody that bought a car up to this point, you get it for free. Oh, and by the way, the referral program, which is still going on, by the way, if you guys are in the market for an EV, shoot me a note on Facebook or through my page, and I can send you my referral code. I've only got 2 spots left, but I won't be able to promote it and put it on the screen or anything anymore. So anyways, long story short, they gave free supercharging to everybody that bought a car up until, May 20th or something. Then any Tesla owner that bought a new Tesla would also get free supercharging. And anyone that bought, like if I sell my Model S, they'll get free supercharging for life for that. Now they're changing it yet again. And I, as a Tesla owner, if I want free supercharging, have to buy it before December 31st, 2017. So we'll see what happens. Like, I'm short on this because you keep going forward and backward on your promise, I guess, to us owners. And that is frustrating, but also just confusing. And it's just, I don't know what to believe anymore with Tesla, especially around this supercharging program. So, oh man, I'm short on this because I would rather them just have it be clear and stick to it, for at least like a couple months. I mean, this changes so rapidly, and it's insane that such a big, important feature would change so dramatically so quickly. To me, that points to either the people that are behind these changes are kind of, finger in the wind about it, or they are doing rapid prototyping analysis to figure out different statistical models and what the cost may be. I doubt that's happening though, because typically what would happen is, coming from me, from a data scientist, it would be, you'd do a study on this, you'd figure out the cost, you'd figure out what that would mean, you'd see if there's any benefit to the bottom line in terms of like people rebuying or whatever, and then you'd come up with a recommendation and have some confidence bands about, okay, I think that this is going to cost us X, it may give us X amount of lift, and here's kind of my how confident I am in those two numbers. You guys make the decision on what to do. And that would be it, right? You'd be like that, and maybe a year later you would study it after you've actually have some observations. So the fact that they keep changing this so rapidly tells me that they kind of don't know what they're doing, or they're just winging it as they go along. And with regard to how everything else is done in Tesla, this seems like a crapshoot. Like it's just, we don't know what we're doing, and it kind of, in my mind, tarnishes their brand a little bit. So please stop. If this is what it is, hey, up until the end of the year, just leave it like that. At least until this expires. Maybe next year say, hey, okay, fine, we'll re-extend it. But don't change it again until then. Jesus, like just chill on this, okay? Because it's driving us owners and people that are potential buyers nuts because we don't know what to expect from you, and that's crappy. That's not the experience that I know you're going for. So there's my short and my rant of the week. And lastly, before we get into Q&A, I want to talk about some boring stuff. And this, of course, is a tweet from Elon about promising conversations with the mayor of Los Angeles regarding tunnel network that would carry cars, bikes, and pedestrian. Permits harder than technology. No crap. I think we all knew that getting a permit and being allowed to do this underneath a city like Los Angeles is going to be, way harder than just actually building the technology, especially since the technology basically exists. So anyways, this is exciting. One detail here that was kind of interesting that changed things, I think, is that bikes and pedestrians being underneath there is a bit different than what they had initially planned or initially talked about, unless they're saying they would have these like buses essentially that would go do these things. And with that, I'm a little bit skeptical of how that may work, but I could see it being could see it being a pretty cool thing if it ever comes to fruition. All right, so now, and let's see where the stock is. By the way, if you didn't know, we have the stock ticker over that way that you can go check out, and that's just live from Google going through the whole broadcast. So trying to add some more value to you guys here. I'd love to have that Bloomberg whole thing ticker running at some point in time. So actually, if you know where that is online, let me know. I've had a hard time finding it. But now I want to get into the Q&A. And I have several questions that people submitted before the broadcast here. If you want to be one of those people in the future, go to teslanomics.co and get on our email list. And I send out just a little email as I'm getting prepared saying, hey, submit questions here. And it's a Google form you can go submit. And then that's how that's how I get this on here. So here we go. Okay. So the first question, have you done any figures on the effect of temperature on energy consumption? So Jeff, I have not myself, but I do have a great data source on this. Not just, a couple people, I'm talking thousands of Tesla owners that have cars that are being charged and used in colder temperatures. I will just say this, that extreme heat and cold definitely affect the amount of watt hours necessary to go a mile, as well as on charging itself. You can't charge the battery as much, and it's slower and all these kind of things. So there you have that. So there is data about that out there, and I will be digging into this in some awesome detail coming up soon. Jelly, I don't know. Tell me how to say your name. That's awesome. What do you think about the tunnel system for cars, considering some people are scared of small rooms and or high speeds, or even going underground, and so on and so forth? Do you think with all those things in mind, it will be worth investing all the time and money into such a complex system? Well, I think before we get there, what we're going to have is a lot about what we're going to have before then is all the crap it takes to actually make it happen. And so that is where really all this is going to So once you get them, I think people will use them. Some people are afraid of these. They won't do it. But, look at the subway systems all around the world. It's not much different than that. And, millions of people use this every day. So I don't think it'll be a big issue. For some people maybe, but, there will always be other options, I believe. Clement asks, love the work you're doing, Ben. My question is, how viable is the EV adoption rate in the low price range market, e.g. Leaf, Bolt, e-Golf, etc., Model 3, when the government tax credit expires and or legislation changes? Keep up the good work. Well, there's two things here. There is the adoption rate for Tesla, who I believe is going to hit that 200,000 car mark this year, probably in Q4. Which means that they will be the first ones to start phasing out of that tax credit. And then there's the rest of the EV market. So I don't think the credit's going to go away at all, with the exception of car companies that hit that 200,000 mark soon. And it'll affect Tesla first, but I think the deal is that the Tesla cars are worth the money regardless of the credit. But I totally understand where people will that want to save the money for whatever reason, prefer just spending less. Which, hey, congratulations to you. I can't do that, but there will be options out there. So I think the tax credit may affect Tesla a little bit, but their cars are well worth the money. But the EV market as a whole, I don't think will be affected too much. Maybe in 5-10 years, but who knows? What the legislation and the political climate will be like around that time. Brian asks, I've been looking to the depreciation rates combined with age, and the closest I could extrapolate via CPO listings is that combined with the auto list mileage depreciation rates, you take 5% depreciation per year of age. I don't know why I can't say that right now. That seems too linear to me. Any thoughts? Also, based on your ownership experience, what features would you get again? Which would you drop? And which ones do you wish you had? Thanks for the question. So Autolist did that study on it, and I think it was 5 to 10% each year. I did a video on this. My video that you guys loved so much called "Don't Buy a Tesla," which was really just the disguising of a true cost of ownership video. I took it into account there. It does seem fairly linear, and if you look in the charts that they have, it's kind of sharp and then slowly drops out, which is kind of common. Once you get that past initial bump of loss and depreciation, it drops. But I'll say this about depreciation. I think those Autolist numbers are too optimistic, because here's the deal. You can go buy a CPO Model S right now for around $40,000. A lot of those cars were well over $70,000+ when they were new. So that is a huge percentage in only a couple years. It maybe is on par with what you'd see in other markets, but for Autolist and a few of these other companies that did these depreciation analysis, I feel like they're missing something here, and that every time Tesla comes out with a brand new technology that changes everything, it severely impacts the older models. Like I don't have, and getting to your next part of your question, I don't have Autopilot. I wish I had Autopilot. I also don't have front parking sensors, which I really wish I had. Other than that, I don't care. The feature I would get the most is the biggest battery you possibly can, because that does make quite a bit of difference. So I think that every time they do something like a new version of Autopilot or whatever, that's when you see it affect the cost and the depreciation significantly, because that's where a lot of the cars out there now are coming from. They don't have those newer features. Thanks for the question. Jeffrey Price asks, what are your thoughts on the stock price after the Model 3s start to roll out? See, you want me to be your financial advisor, but I'm not, right? I have to disclaim that. I talk a lot about data, and I obviously care about the economy and all these things, but I can't be your advisor. I'm not certified to do that. And all that. So please don't take what I do as investment advice. I'll put that disclaimer out there almost all the time. So what are my thoughts, though? Stock price after, I think it's going to drop, actually. I think until the battery production lines in the Gigafactory become fully automated, which I'm predicting sometime in September, the production is going to be incredibly slow. And as a result, what you'll see is a few number of Model 3s being released. Again, it's that S curve, which, again, I did a video on a week ago talking about that. And I think at that point, what you'll see is a bunch of negative press. This follows the hype cycle with new technologies. And after that point of the negative press coming out and this and that, we'll see it drop. And then all the equipment will get installed. The automation will come online. They'll start putting thousands and thousands of cars in the market every week. And it'll skyrocket back past that. I would not be surprised if by the end of the year, we're at a $500 price point for the Tesla stock. But again, don't take my word for that as investment advice, please. That's just my speculation. Knowing that I'm not a stock analyst in those regards. I'm a data scientist, so I look at things a little bit differently. Joe asks, in love with the idea of all glass roof option in my future Model 3, but I'm worried about the sun making us too hot and making the AC work overtime. my thoughts. Thanks so much for your awesome show, Ben. I look forward to show every week. I wish more people loved and understood Tesla as much as you. Then I wouldn't seem so Tesla SpaceX crazy all the time. To my friends and family, keep up the great work. Thanks, Joe, for the comments and for the question. So, the UV on the Model S, which I have an all glass, or it's a panoramic, but it's all glass roof essentially. Not technically the all glass option, but it's all glass. Is my point. It blocks, I think, 80% of UV, and I honestly never noticed that I don't have a regular roof there. I mean, it is brighter in the car, but it doesn't affect me. Like, I can sit underneath it with the sun beating directly on me, and I live in a pretty sunny place, and it's no issue at all. I have no problems whatsoever. So I don't think you'll have any problems in that regard. I don't know where you live. I know in Phoenix, where I'm from, it was insane to have something like this, and we would even do tint on the front windshield because it was so bright and hot. So I suppose depending on where you live, it could be a factor. But from my experience, it hasn't been hasn't been an issue at all. Peter asks, last time I asked if I would lose my place in line if I wanted options that were currently not being installed in the Model 3. My answer was vague about the loss of position. Being a first-day reservation holder, can you find out if my position will be considered when the options I want to become available, or will I lose my early subscriber status? So, Peter, Tesla's not going to tell me this flat out, okay? So my answer is speculative, but I will say that the understanding I have in terms of how this has been done in the past with Model S and X is you won't lose your place in line, but let's say you want all-wheel drive, which they're not going to make till later this year or early next year at best. It's not possible for you to get your car, right? They're not going to make it. So certain features that are going to be restricted, you'll be essentially at the front of the line for the people that want that car. So think about it that way, right? You're not losing your place, but if you want an option that they're not making for 6 more months, they're not going to start making your car until at least that point in time. And everyone else in that bucket that you're in, you will be placed among them based on things like whether or not you're a current owner, what the region you live in, and the exact time that you put in your reservation. In fact, let me show you something. This is a sneak peek. Later this week, and let me go full screen here so you can see this as I'm done looking at that. Later this week, I have a Model 3 estimator that is going to help you figure out when you're going to get your Model 3, and it prints out cool things like this here. Now, I don't have a color printer and my margins are all off, but point being, stay tuned this week where Thursday I'm going to have a video showing you how to estimate exactly when you'll get your Model 3. And I base this, if you guys are familiar with the Google Sheet on Tesla Motors Club, that's where I base a lot of the logic from. I just built a better interface and something that I thought would be kind of fun to print out and put up on your wall and see, I guess how it is. So thanks for the question, Peter, and I hope that helped. But yeah, as I said, unfortunately, I won't be able to get information from Tesla about that. So at this point, let me go to the comment section. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them now. If you want your question or comment to be highlighted, use the little super chat feature, which is the $sign down below. You can spend a couple bucks and make sure that I answer it or that your voice is heard. So that's enabled. So feel free to go there. Okay. So let me take a look. I think I saw a few. And let me see. There's so many. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. Brian asks, if I purchase a certified pre-owned Model S, will I get a rebate? The answer is no. Here in California, you will not get the federal rebate, but you may potentially qualify for a state rebate. I don't know. In California, no. It has to be a new vehicle. They only give the credit in that to the first person that buys it. That also goes for a lot of cases where the company you're leasing it from, that company essentially gets that as well. Lavi asks, Tesla ships with adapters for charging on non-Tesla charging stations. Do you know if other EVs can charge on Tesla chargers via adapters? Not that I've seen. To my knowledge, it's a total proprietary system, and I've not seen anyone attempt that even. If so, I'm sure it would be big news and probably all over the social webs and stuff. All right, I've got a question here. The Flying Irishman. Ask your question, bud. Let's see. Looks like there's some comments about only driving a certain number of miles per year. This is from Jim H. I work from home, only drive about 1,500 miles per year. Congratulations, I'm in the same boat. Is low mileage bad for EVs / the Model 3? Have to replace device lithium-ion batteries constantly because always on chargers. Will my car be the same? So actually, I'm digging into this. I've did a video on battery degradation for Tesla in the past, and here what I have is so the way it works is your car only charges to 80% most days. Unless you're going on a road trip, then you charge it to 100%. So you don't have nearly as bad of usage or degradation on your battery like you do your phone or your laptop or something like that. So I am digging more deeper into this, and the data I've seen suggests that the Tesla batteries will last about 310,000 miles or 500,000 kilometers. And this is coming from real Tesla owners that charge their cars using a specific methodology and have been logging it for a couple years now. So I think almost 4 or 5 years. So this is where some of the data we have on this is super helpful. But no, you won't have to worry about that. My car is 4 years old now, and it still actually gets 99% of whatever it got originally. In fact, I think it probably gets 100%. So so you won't have to worry about it with your Model 3, and age doesn't seem to play a huge factor. Cycle chart on the data I've seen, the number of cycles going to 100% is really the thing that hits it the hardest, and that's why it's built in for you to not charge up to 100% by default. You can change that, of course, but it even gives you warnings and all that. Ben, would I be able to purchase the Model 3 during the configuration process so I can receive the government incentive, or how does that work? This is from Corny Gamer. Cool name. So the way it works is for the incentive tax credit, for you to receive that, you have to take ownership of the vehicle in order to do it. So you actually have to have the car. It's not just a matter of putting a deposit down or even purchasing it. According to the IRS website, the last time I was looking at it, reading about it, because that's what I was wondering too. I mean, what if we all just go in and just buy it outright and hey, we bought it? They actually have to deliver it, and that's actually when it starts to phase out as well, is when they deliver that car. That's what they define as the point when you actually take ownership of it. Is when you can do it. So you should be fine. I mean, depending on I guess when you reserved yours and all that. But yeah, you won't be able to kind of circumvent that in advance. Umar asks, "Hi Ben, I'm looking to buy a Tesla Model S CPO 85 kilowatt hour with about 53,000 miles. It is a 2013 edition. Would it be worth it to buy for $42,500? Well, that's about $8,000 less than I paid for mine, and mine's only a 60 kilowatt hour. Granted, mine had very low miles. So yeah, I mean, I think that's good. The thing you'll be missing, of course, is Autopilot and those front parking sensors, which is the big one that I'm missing. But it'll be a fantastic car still, and 85 kilowatt hours should get you a fair amount of range." Nilay Patel asked, "Did you get any news about Tesla that goes to earn money while you are not using it?" Not yet. This is called the Tesla Network. This is the thing that, in theory, you could push a button, have your car go out and be a ride-sharing service, and come back and you'd made some money. I don't know if this is. They've talked about it. There's many other milestones that have to happen before that's a possibility, but we're headed that direction. So. Reef Club, question, if I go with a base model I reserved on April 1st, 2016, are my chances of getting the full federal tax credit increased since early reservation holders may have to wait for more options? I would go with yes. However, the base model, if you mean the 60 kilowatt hour battery is what you're after, that will not be available right away. So you would have to buy the 75 kilowatt hour battery, which I think is going to be a 74, but they'll probably list as a 75. So yeah, that is true because again, it's when you take delivery of it, that will affect essentially all that. But remember, after the phase out begins, and if I'm estimating this will happen in Q4, it actually doesn't happen what day it matters. It doesn't matter what day in Q4. If it happens in Q4, all other cars in that quarter and the following quarter, that you take delivery of, will qualify for the full credit. Then for the next 2 quarters, so another 6 months, it's half of the credit, $37.50, and then for the next 2 quarters after that, it's 25% of the original amount. So it's a full year after they hit the mark before it's actually gone, but it does start to decrease. And this is where, again, I think the car is worth it, but I totally understand if some people can't afford it and they're counting on this, then they may want to choose something else. So, okay, I've got time for just a couple more here. How cheap will a used Model 3 be? I don't know. Probably not very cheap for a long time because they're going to be in such high demand. In fact, me and my friend were just speculating about that the other day. We're in California. We're Tesla owners. We reserved on the first day, so we're expecting to get ours pretty early this year, Q3 or Q4. And if we don't like it, we'll just sell it, and we probably will make money on it. Not that that's our plan, but we were just thinking there's almost no risk for us because they'll be in such high demand that we should be able to sell it for more money than what we paid for it. So, when will we see a significant depreciation on a Model 3? I think that'll be a few years out. And at which time, yeah, who knows, maybe 15, 20,000. That'll be pretty cool. Mario asks, how much will the annual cost of regular maintenance be on a Model 3 versus a Model S? Well, it's pretty minimal right now. So if you look at the maintenance plan that they offer, it comes out to be about $400 a year. Other than that, there isn't too much that isn't covered by the warranty. Even things like tires and brakes go out less because of the regenerative braking and things like that. So it should be pretty cheap. On par, if not cheaper than something like a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla or something like that. Carlos asks, any news about the Tesla Roadster in the near future? Yeah, there actually has been some chatter online about that. I believe that Elon tweeted something that they may be able to get to 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, which would be absolute nuts. But he said he would only do it if it was with the street legal tires and the same stock that comes off the production line. I'd be curious if and when that happens. Honestly, they've got a semi, they've got the Model Y, potentially a pickup truck. They've got so many things going on. They only have one plant right now, and so until other stuff comes online at the Gigafactory or they buy or install new plants, I think that they're pretty limited on any of these kind of crazy plans. So. Let me see. Hi, Ben. I have reserved a Model 3 from Denmark last month. When should we be expecting the Model X in Europe, in Denmark particularly? I'm not sure if you're talking about the Model 3 or the Model X. Talking about the Model 3, wait till this Thursday, and it'll be there. Well, my estimator will be there, and that will help you. And it does have all the different regions in the world to consider. So stay tuned for that this Thursday. And I hope you guys really enjoy that because I spent an exorbitant amount of time building it and trying to format it, really just making something that, I hope that you can print out and be proud of, once you see the results. Luis asks, can you compare insurance costs? I'm actually looking into that because there was some news about AAA raising the insurance rates recently. However, I haven't found data on it yet. So if you guys know of a good data source for insurance costs for Teslas, let me know. Right now, it seems so subjective, right? Depending on whether you bundle it with other cars, depending on where you live, depending on your credit history, all these kind of things. It's just so hard. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all for today. I want to thank you for joining me yet again. If you're not on the email list, please go to teslanomics.co and sign up. You can unsubscribe at any time. I don't spam you with any other crap that you are not going to be interested in. It's mostly just my weekly episodes and then my little surveys about, hey, do you want to submit any questions? I'm going live in an hour, those kind of things. So not super crazy, but it will help you stay in touch with what I'm doing and the content I'm making here. And also don't forget that you can override YouTube's algorithm by clicking the little bell down below. So right next to the subscribe button, there's a little bell that lets basically anytime I post something, it'll be a notification to you. Instead of you relying on YouTube's algorithm to see the content coming out, it'll always show up. And again, of course, you can uncheck that anytime you want. But go do that and let me know how it goes. I'd be curious. I do it for several folks who basically anything they put out, I want to see. And so I hope you guys feel the same way about my stuff. And thanks again, and I'll see you back here next time.